I'm Margaret Hayes. I'm 73 years old, and I've seen enough in this life to know that sometimes the worst betrayals come wrapped in the sweetest smiles. It was a Tuesday afternoon when my world shifted. I had stopped by my son David's house to drop off some cookies. He wasn't home, but my daughter-in-law Jessica was there. Jessica, beautiful Jessica with her perfectly styled blonde hair and those calculating green eyes that I'd never quite trusted. Though I'd tried so hard to love her for David's sake, I let myself in through the back door, calling out her name. No answer. As I walked through the kitchen, I heard voices upstairs. Laughter. A man's voice that wasn't my son's. My heart began to pound, but I stayed quiet. Sometimes you need to see the truth with your own eyes before you can believe it. Then I saw a dot in the hallway trash can, carelessly tossed away like garbage, was little Emma's baby blanket. My granddaughter's precious blanket, the soft pink one with white stars, that I had given her when she was born 3 years ago. The one she carried everywhere. The one that meant comfort and safety to her. My hands trembled as I reached down and pulled it from the trash. Why would anyone throw this away? Emma loved this blanket. She needed it. I held it close to my chest, thinking of my sweet granddaughter, and decided to take it home to wash it. To save it for her, that evening, I spread the blanket across my guest bed, smoothing out the wrinkles. That's when I felt it. Something hard sewn into the fabric near the corner. Something that didn't belong. My curiosity got the better of me. I found my sewing scissors and carefully cut the seam open. What I pulled out made my blood run cold. A flash drive, small, black, deliberately hidden. My hands shook as I walked to my computer. I'd learned to use technology my late husband, Robert, had taught me before he passed. Never stop learning, Maggie, he'd always said. I plugged in the drive. The folder that opened contained dozens of files, photos, videos, messages. My daughter-in-law Jessica, with another man. Someone I recognized from David's office. Marcus, his business partner. His best friend since college. The photos were recent. Some taken in my son's own home. In his own bed. I sat there in the darkness of my study, tears streaming down my face. Not just for David's pain that was coming, but for Emma. Sweet, innocent Emma, who at 3 years old was living in a house of lies. But there was more. I found financial documents. Evidence that Marcus and Jessica had been siphoning money from the business David had built from nothing. Forged signatures, false invoices. They'd been stealing from him for months, maybe longer. They were planning to run away together. 2. Take everything and disappear. And in those messages, I found the cruelest detail of all. Jessica had written, "Once we're gone, David won't see Emma anymore. Let him try to find us. They were going to take my granddaughter, vanish, destroy my son completely." I didn't sleep the night. I sat in my kitchen, drinking tea, thinking about what Robert would have done. He'd always said, "Protect the ones you love, Maggie." Always. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Eleanor Bradford had been handling my affairs for 20 years. She was sharp, thorough, and didn't waste time on judgment. "Eleanor," I said calmly, "I need your help protecting my son." Within 2 days, we had everything documented, copies made, evidence secured. Eleanor worked with her colleagues, and we built an airtight case, not just for the infidelity that was David's heartbreak to handle, but for the theft, the fraud, the planned parental kidnapping. Then I did something that surprised even myself. I called Marcus's wife, Diane. We met at a quiet CAF on the edge of town. Diane was younger than me, maybe 50, with kind eyes that looked tired. She'd always been lovely to me at company gatherings. "Diane," I said softly, sliding a folder across the table. "I'm so sorry to be the one to show you this." She opened it. I watched her face crumble as she saw the same photos, the same messages I'd discovered. Her husband's betrayal laid bare. We sat together for an hour. 2 women who'd been lied to, hurt by people we'd trusted. But we didn't just cry. We planned. Diane, it turned out, had her own suspicions. She'd noticed money missing, strange phone calls, lies about working late. "I want him to face consequences," she said, her voice steady despite her tears. Real consequences. Together, we went to the police. The financial fraud was criminal. With our evidence, the authorities moved quickly. Then came the hardest part, telling David. I invited him to dinner on a Friday evening, just the 2 of us. I made his favorite pot roast, the way I used to when he was a boy coming home from football practice. "MOM, what's wrong?" he asked immediately. He'd always been able to read me. "Sit down, sweetheart," I said gently. There's something you need to know. I showed him everything. The flash drive, the evidence, the plans to steal Emma away. My strong, successful son, the man who'd built a company, who provided for his family, who loved his daughter more than anything, broke down in my kitchen. He sobbed like he was a boy again. And I held him the way I had when he was small and the world had hurt him. Why? He kept asking, why would she do this? I don't know, David, I whispered. Some people, they're just not capable of real love. Not the kind you deserved. The legal proceedings moved swiftly. With the evidence we'd gathered, Jessica and Marcus were arrested for embezzlement and fraud. Jessica's plan to disappear with Emma meant she faced additional charges of attempting to violate custody agreements. David filed for divorce and emergency custody. With everything we'd documented, the court sided with him immediately. Emma would stay with her father. Jessica would have supervised visitation only. Marcus's assets were frozen. Diane filed for divorce as well. The business was saved, though. It took months to untangle the financial mess they'd created. Through it all, I kept Emma, while David worked with lawyers and tried to rebuild. My granddaughter stayed with me. We baked cookies together, read stories. I rocked her to sleep every night with her beloved blanket sewn back together, its secret removed, restored to innocence. Grandma? Emma asked me one evening as I tucked her in. Where's Mommy? Your mommy made some mistakes, sweetheart, I said carefully. But your daddy loves you so much. And so do I. You're safe here. I know, she said, hugging her blanket close. I'm always safe with you. 6 months later, David's divorce was final. Jessica was serving time for fraud. Marcus had lost everything: his business, his marriage, his reputation. Justice, I'd learned, wasn't always swift. But sometimes it comes. David met someone new eventually. A teacher named Sarah, who was gentle and honest, who loved Emma like her own, who brought real laughter back into my son's life. Last week, at Sunday dinner, David squeezed my hand. Emma, I never thanked you properly for saving us, for protecting Emma. That's what mothers do, I said simply. We protect our children, no matter how old they get. But here's what I've learned in my 73 years. Betrayal doesn't always destroy you. Sometimes it reveals who truly loves you, who truly has your back. That blanket meant to be thrown away, discarded like it meant nothing, became the key to saving my family and Emma. She still sleeps with it every night. Safe, loved, protected, just as every child deserves to be. Sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest truths, and sometimes a grandmother's love is the strongest force of all.